Hey everyone, Jason here. So thankful you're taking time out of your busy day to find ways to better yourself as a pilot. Coming to you live right now on YouTube. By the way, I just realized I do a lot of live streaming to Facebook. My first time live streaming over to YouTube and doing that with a great topic like a mock check ride. Welcome live into MzeroA.com world headquarters in Ocala, Florida is where we're located here, and I'm bringing to you a great presentation tonight, a great mock check ride, a chance to quiz you. And by the way, I can see you out there. I can see Matthew and Tom and Robbie and Richard, Muhammad, Jason G, great name, Shannon, one of our online ground school members here, Dwayne, I see all these guys and gals over here. I can see the chat right in front of me, so when I'm breaking eye line a little bit, I'm looking down at the chat, just reading what you guys are up to and what you're happening. Eli, good to see you as well. So anyways, you and I can interact in that chat as well, and we're going to interact in that chat because I'm going to be asking actual FAA check ride questions. I'm going to ask you 5 check ride questions. Now, if you're an online ground school member like Shannon and a few other of ours in here, Dwayne and some others here, I did this webinar last night actually with our online ground school members. I do a webinar every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time with our online ground school members. So it's just a great chance to kind of interact with our members, and now I'm sharing some of that. Normally I don't share my online ground school content publicly, but I'm sharing all with you. A bunch of shout outs. Let's see, there's our buddy Valerie, Michael, Alvin, Robbie, Peter, Jose, John, Marion, David, Adrian B. Good to see you all. John K, Fred D, James G, good to see you all. I'm excited to read your questions, your answers as well here. So how this works, again, I'm going to ask actual FAA check ride questions. If you're an online ground school of mine like Shannon, Valerie, Richard, a few others, you saw this webinar last night, but it'll be a great refresher for you. You saw these questions, and Valerie and Richard and all those will tell you that was a tough mock check ride we did with our online ground school community last night. At the end, we'll talk about how you can become one of those online ground school members as well. So anyways, let's dive into it. Now this mock check ride, by the way, is really anywhere from a private pilot up to a CFI level. And I'll be sure to point out which kind of question fits where, what I'm looking for at a private pilot level as opposed to a CFI or an ATP level even. We're going to go through all of that. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm going to read the first question to you now. Question number 1. You're on a night flight. You're flying VFR at 4,500 feet. Your outside air temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. The ATIS, Ocala Information Zulu. Winds calm, visibility 7, skies clear. Haze. Temperature 22, dew point 21, altimeter 29er 8. Remarks, density altitude 500. What are you thinking about right now as you're approaching the airport? You're coming in to land at the Ocala airport, coming back from a night flight, and that's what you receive. That's the weather information we have based on the ATIS, AWOS, ASOS, whatever weather information we're getting at that time. What are some concerns you have here in this case? Tom Jones, you're on to something. Valerie, I would only expect the best from you. Let's see here. Yes, C. Boswell, absolutely. Ron Mander, you're on to something. Tim, you're on to something. Diego, I don't know if I'd get that specific. Your answer is correct. Here's a problem, and Diego, I'm just going to share this just so, and I'm not picking on you in any way. I want to talk about something here before I reveal the answer, and most of you know the answer is that it's fog that we're concerned about. But for some of you that got into the specific type of fog, oh, Jason, it's going to be advection fog, it's going to be radiation fog. It could be. We don't know. We don't have enough details just yet. But here's the problem. Giving too many details is digging yourself into a check ride pitfall. The simple answer is fog. Visible moisture is acceptable. Fog in the vicinity. That's the answer, and I'm going to be quiet. And trust me, as someone who talks a lot, it's very hard for me to give a one-word answer, fog, and then sit there and be quiet, awkwardly waiting for the check ride examiner to ask the next question. But if I go advection fog, what's the check ride examiner going to ask next? Oh, advection fog. Tell me more about advection fog. Oh, well, there's this cooler air, and I think there's some water involved, and this warmer, it has to move, and he's going to go, oh, what other types of fog are there? And you're going to go, radiation, upslope, and you see how you're digging yourself in a Checkride pitfall? Because you brought it up. I would just answer it fog and leave it at that. If he or she wants to dive into the 4 or 5 different types of fog, by all means, we'll go that route, but don't volunteer the information. Do you understand? That's called digging yourself into a Checkride pitfall. So anyways, like we said, the answer here in this case is fog in this case. Whenever the temperature and dew point differences are 2.5 degrees Celsius or 4 degrees Fahrenheit from each other, chances are we can get fog. You know the temperature is usually going to go down at night in this case. It gets cooler at night. The temperature and dew points are going to converge. Fog and haze can also make, for those of you who talk about some illusions, you're very smart here. Fog and haze can both make the runway look farther away than it really is, causing an illusion of being too high in this case as well, as you can see there. So fog is our answer in that case. So we have that here. Let's go ahead and let's look now at question number 2. And you're going to see a theme that kind of goes through this as well here. What is the difference between temperature and dew point? What is the difference between temperature and dew point? We just talked about when temperature and dew point get close and they want to converge. But what is the difference? And really, let's take this even a step further here. We all know what temperature is the real question, perhaps at a commercial or a CFI level. And again, I'm asking you to answer this question for where you're at in your flying. If you're a student pilot, you can give me the most basic answer. But if you're a CFI, I want you to really define dew point for me. And what does that mean to you? And again, as a great CFI, you have to then be able to explain it at a private, at an instrument, at a commercial, at an ATP level as well. That's what makes a great flight instructor. What is the difference between temperature and dew point? Let's read some more here. Yeah, Josh Stouffer, you're on to something there. Scott, yeah, you're on to something here. Reading some more. Khalif. Yeah, we need to get a little more specific, though. I know we were just talking about how less is more, but we're missing a few little things there. Adrian, I like your answer. And again, at a basic level, man, check, spot on. Great, great answer in this case. Again, I got a lot coming in at once. I'm just going to kind of pick and few here. Patrick, I mean, technically, that's how I asked the question. You're technically right. Talk about the difference is whatever the METAR says. Well, based on how I asked it, perhaps you're right with that one here. Damien says, dew point's the temperature at which the air will become saturated. Yeah, we're again, at the most basic level. We're really on to something here. Let's start with the most basic level, and let's work more advanced. Temperature and dew point. Dew point, technically, starting advanced here, indicates the amount of moisture in the air. The higher the dew point, the higher the moisture content of the air at a given temperature. Here, bullet point number 3. If you were going to write something down or take a screenshot, it's of bullet point number 3 here. Dew point, temperature, is defined as the temperature to which the air would have to cool at a constant pressure and a constant water vapor content in order to reach saturation. That's slightly more advanced, okay? I'm not going to lie. That's slightly more advanced, but that is the NOAA, the FAA definition of it. I'll put it up on the screen one more time just so you can get a screenshot of it so you can write it down in this case. Third bullet point right here. Dew point temperature is defined as the temperature to which the air would have to cool at a constant pressure and constant water vapor content in order to reach saturation. And when I say in order to reach saturation, what happens? We get visible moisture. You see, it's not enough just for the temperature and dew point to converge, because you're going to run into instances and go, man, the temperature and the dew point are awfully close together. But you know what? We didn't get that constant pressure. We had, some sort of frontal activity move through, changing the pressure in that case, so we didn't get it. Or the consistent water vapor to actually make that happen. Maybe the water vapor just really almost wasn't there even. These are the points we're pondering in this case here. Let's go ahead now with question number 3 here. And I want to know the definition. Don't worry about the image on the right. Tell me the definition. What is relative humidity? Can you see how we're kind of following a theme here in this case? What is relative humidity? And you're going to see a chart like this. It's going to tell you your pressure, your visibility, clouds, heat index, dew point, and you're going to get down to humidity here. What is relative humidity? If you're an aspiring commercial pilot, CFI, you want to take it a step further, talk to me about humidity and its effects on performance as well here. What is relative humidity is what we're talking about here. So think about that. I'm going to watch here, see what you guys type in here. Robbie, yeah, expressed how? Robbie, how do they express that, that relative humidity? And again, your answer would have passed on Checkride. I'm just getting a little more specific with you here. Let's see, is it Zalim? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. There we go, username, something with rugby, absolutely. Absolutely, you're correct. Yeah, Jonathan, you're on to something. Matthew, same question I asked earlier to Robbie, expressed how? Your answer's right, but how would they express that? Let's see. Valerie, spot on. Let's see. Yeah, Nick, that's good. Can we define that? You said the humidity in the immediate area. Okay, can we get a little more specific with that? Because that's what a Checkride examiner is going to say. He's going to say, well, you're not wrong, but I'm looking for a little bit more. That's what he or she's going to say to a response like that. Michael Couch, now you're on to something. You're thinking. Eric, I like where you're going with performance on this. Absolutely. Nick H, that's exactly how they express it. You're very, very correct with that. What is relative humidity? Let's go ahead. Let's reveal that answer here. Relative humidity, answer number 3. The amount of water vapor present in air is as expressed as a percentage of the amount needed for saturation at the same temperature. That's what relative humidity is. Air with higher humidity is less dense, providing lower lift and lower propeller or turbine efficiency. Pilots must take humidity into account when calculating the takeoff distances because high humidity will require longer runways and will decrease the climb gradient. Remember, water will take up space in the parcel of air, thus making it less dense. So think of it this way. High humidity, I get a decrease in performance. High humidity, high density altitude. High density altitude, decrease in performance. But again, think of it this way. When's the last time you looked at your takeoff and landing distances, your top of climb charts, whatever it may be, and humidity was factored into that? It wasn't. So think of it this way. When you're working through that takeoff chart, do you realize that that's on a, first off, calibrated for a standard day, then there's some deviations here, on a perfectly smooth, perfectly level, nice dry runway with an airplane that's just fresh out of the factory here, and by the way, a test pilot who used to be #1 at Delta, #1 at NetJets, and this is his or her retirement gig now, being a test pilot, flying this airplane literally perfectly. And then we create the POH, the Pilot's Operating Handbook, our takeoff and landing distances, our charts based on that data. And have you ever thought to yourself, like, okay, the book says I can do it, but can I fly to the book? And does the book account for humidity? We deal with this so much in Florida in the summertime. It is all about humidity for us. We'll oftentimes reach 100% humidity, which greatly causes a decrease in our performance with that. Let's keep moving forward here. I got 2 more questions for you. Let's switch gears a little bit here. What kind of airspace is this? What kind of airspace is this right here? I'm looking at it. If you're from the area, perhaps you know, but what kind of airspace is this? We're looking at it. What on earth is that airspace? It's gray solid lines for, maybe to make sure your monitor's not going crazy. No, those are gray solid lines. Thank you, Austin. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Ronald. Let's see. Thank you, UX Baron has the username. Thanks, Mike, Patrick. Let's see. Robbie, Robbie, there is some in there. You're right, but look a little harder in there as well, Robbie. But you're right on the last part, certainly. Patrick, love how you spelled it out. Valerie, spotted it all. Great work here. Let me see. Austin, good job. Steve A, great job. Clay, I would only expect the best from you. Paul, Peter, Gary, yes. Reeve, yes. Hey, my buddy Dave, good to see you, Dave. Jay, yes, I'm falling behind. There's so many coming in here. Billy S, yes, you're correct. Stephen Williams, yes, absolutely. We are looking at right here, we are looking at a TRSA. Is what we're looking at. A TRSA stands for Terminal Radar Service Area. Allow me to explain a little bit. Real quick bonus question. If you were on this webinar last night, no cheating here, how many TRSAs are left in the United States right now? Standing here today, how many TRSAs are left in the United States? And then while you work on that, I'll explain this a little bit. Watch my screen here real quick. TRSA shown with our solid gray, as you can see. It's underlined, always associated with a class delta. You can see the class delta kind of buried in here in this case. And then also, if you look really closely, I have a class echo extension coming off here. Not quite sure what it's protecting. I have to look at the approach, how they do an approach. Maybe they have some weird approach in that way, but a little class echo protect that. Let's see if we had any correct answers. Not 5, not 6, not 4. Adrian B's close, saying 27, but there's actually a few, well, there's a few more than that. I'll leave it at that. And again, you're right, there's a few in Georgia, there's 2 in Louisiana, I know of, there's this one up in Michigan, this is Muskegon. There's a few others. And of course, Valerie's got it. 31 is our correct answer here. 31 TRSAs left. Let's learn a little bit more about TRSAs in this case. A Terminal Radar Service Area, or a TRSA, is airspace in which radar and air traffic control services are made available to pilots flying under instrument flight rules or optionally visual flight rules for the purposes of maintaining aircraft separation. I always kind of jokingly say that a TRSA is like reject Class Charlie airspace. In a way, it provides all the same services. However, in the VFR environment, you're not required to talk to them. Let me just read a little more and I'll explain that here in a second here. Second bullet point. Terminal radar service areas were established as part of the program to create terminal radar stations at selected airports. They do not fit into the existing U.S. classifications of airspace. A, B, C, are typical classifications. A pilot who chooses to participate will receive radar services, but participation is not required for VFR operations. That's important. TRSAs will encompass a primary airport with a Class D designation like I showed you earlier, and the TRSA will be above the other controlled airspace, typically Class E airspace as well, with a typical floor of 700, 1,200 feet AGL, above ground level, and like I said, there's 31 left in the United States. So a TRSA provides VFR flight following services if you want it. You could, let me go back to this slide here so you can really see this here. You could fly, let's look at the screen here real quick. You could fly, my cursor, by the way, is on the left side of your screen over here. I'm tracking south on it now, down over here. I could fly, this is 2,500 to 8,000 here. I could fly at 4,500 right on through up here, right? And I could not talk to anybody if I didn't want to. Am I in the TRSA's airspace? Well, yeah, technically according to this, but they said participation is not required. Now, why would you have an amazing service like this where they're going to provide traffic separation for you and any other services that you need? Why on earth would you not use them? I'm just telling you, it's optional. But if someone's willing to talk to me and provide me radar services, I am going to use those. That's just me, though, in this case. Let's go to our fifth and final question, and this is the toughest question I've asked so far. What is a K-index in relationship to thunderstorm development? What is a K-index in relationship to thunderstorm development? This is a very, very tough question. However, I imagine once you see what a K-index is, you're going to go, this is pretty cool. I'm going to start adding this to things I check, things I do before a flight. The K-index. What is a K-index in its relationship to thunderstorm development in this case here? Let's see here. I don't have any answers yet. Mike, yeah, you're on to something here, but Mike, yes, you're very correct. How does that relate to thunderstorm development, though? What am I looking for? What are we getting at here? Let's see, the K-index. Patrick, again, like Mike, you're very, very close to being onto something here. Let's see, Valerie, spot on. That's what we're looking for in this case. That's what we're looking for. Let's see. Brian, yeah, we're getting there. Damien, yeah, we're getting there. Todd, that's the answer I'm looking for. Todd M. Perfect answer, man. Great, great job there. I like that. Looking for a few more. Again, a lot of people, SGV real estate username. Again, you're on to something there. Really on. And again, gosh, once you see this, you're going to go, man, this is something I need to be adding here to my tool bag, my flight bag of things I do before a flight. What is a K-index and its relationship to thunderstorm development? Let's go ahead and let's reveal that answer here. The K-index, or sometimes called George's index, is a measure of thunderstorm potential in meteorology. According to the National Weather Service, the index harnesses measurements such as vertical temperature lapse rate, moisture content of the lower atmosphere, and the vertical extent of the moist layer. The K-index is related to the probability of occurrence of a thunderstorm. If I had to summarize that, if I had to put that in plain English, something I want you to write down or take a screenshot of, this is it right here. The K-index is related to the probability of occurrence of a thunderstorm. Yes, it has everything to do with stability and lapse rate and everything like you mentioned in here. Great, great answers here. But if you had to summarize it in plain English, the K-index is related to the probability of occurrence of a thunderstorm here. That's the kind of stuff we're looking for in that case. That's what we're really after in that. You can kind of see, I can show you the K-index and some of its values here. Again, its value in centigrade, less than 20, none. You kind of see as the numbers change, its relationship to the probability of a thunderstorm. We can take that a step further here. You can actually look at the current K-index. This is I made this presentation a little while ago, so this isn't current as of today, but you can look and see, literally for my visual learners, you can see the probability of a thunderstorm here based on the pictorial, the visual K-index. And we kind of flash forward 12 hours, 24, 36, and really look, I mean, where do you think they're pulling this TAF data? Where do you think when you go on weather.com and it says there's a 70% chance of rain, where do you think they're pulling all this information from? That's where it's really coming from in this case. So we have that. So listen, 5 actual FAA Checkride questions. Again, ranging from private pilot, some of those K-index, that's a CFI, CFII type question. Very difficult questions. If you love this live presentation, if you want to do live webinars, mock check rides with myself and our great team here at MzeroA.com and a lot of our great members, I see so many of you on here as well. Thank you again for taking time out of your busy day for that. Do consider us for your next online ground school solution here. MzeroA.com, we run everything through groundschoolacademy.com. Complete private instrument commercial for one price. It's a membership based. You get access to everything. We do weekly webinars just like this every Monday night, and it's a much smaller kind of private, intimate webinar we do with all of our members here. It's knowledge, it's Checkride, but most importantly, it's real world prep. Yes, you're going to pass your knowledge test. I'm going to endorse you for it. Yes, you're going to pass your Checkride with flying colors. We have the pass your knowledge test or pass your Checkride guarantee, or I'll pay for it. It's a big offer to say, pass your Checkride or I'll pay for it. If you go through our entire course and you fail on the oral portion of your Checkride, I'll pay for your Checkride. That's how complete our course really is. I know Valerie and so many others on here can share their testament to what the online ground school has done for them as well in their study. So you get access to our team. Many of you who have called into MzeroA, used the live chat, reached out to support, have gotten a fast, timely response from one of our amazing team members here at MzeroA.com as well. So listen, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to find ways to better yourselves as a pilot. I'll review some of these comments. If you have a question you want to ask, don't hesitate to go over to MzeroA.com, click support, click live chat, call in the office. We are here to help you. We are here to serve you, to be an asset to you in your journey to aviation, not just passing a test, but safety and proficiency is what we're really after. Enjoy the rest of your day, and most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, guys. We'll see ya.